So, you've made a video game. Congratulations, you've finished months, years, sometimes decades of hard work, and it's finally time to put it out there for the world. So you throw it up on Steam, Epic, Scratch, and inevitably it sells 0 units. Why? Because you didn't market it. The world had no idea what your game is about, why they should buy it, hell, they don't even know that it or you exists. You could market with a write-up, promotional images, etc., but 90% of the time, the thing that will give you the most traction is a good trailer. Subscribe to my second channel. I have a new video out in there now. It's pretty fun and I want you to watch it. Please, bye. So, what makes a trailer good or bad? Well, it depends largely on the audience. One of the best video game trailers ever was the Fallout 76 E3 2018 trailer. Almost. And that is the entire amount of that song that I can play before this video gets copyrighted. It was a monumentous decision to open showing a completely new Fallout landscape with that classic song in the background. The through line of the soldier in power armor dying at the start, and then that very same overgrown power armor, this time after the bombs have dropped, later on in the trailer. So much scenery hinting at areas that you could explore later in the game. From the perspective of a Fallout fan, this trailer is nearly perfect. Even though the game, at least at launch, did not match the hype, this trailer made Fallout 76 look like a dream. It was the prettiest Fallout game to date, and these short cuts of extremely intriguing scenery opened up people to dissect this trailer to no end and speculate on what it could be about, which they did, kind of proving my point of how the audience of a game really dictates what kind of trailer you should make. An example of another damn near perfect trailer, or rather set of trailers in a completely different style, are Valve's 3 trailers for Counter-Strike 2, released simultaneously. These are not conventional trailers. These videos are no nonsense. From the jump, just solid technical details about the game and why it's superior to its predecessor. They address 3 very important facets of Counter-Strike directly and leave it up to the players to kind of figure out everything else. Valve never directly addresses the massive visual upgrades, they just kind of show it to us. In fact, that's a lot of what these trailers are, show don't tell. They never even directly reveal the name Counter-Strike 2. They just refer to the game as CS2 and put it in the title and expect the players to figure it out. These trailers were perfect for the Counter-Strike audience because, well, we view this game as not an experience like Fallout 76, but rather as a sport. CS2 is Counter-Strike with an updated rulebook and a fresh coat of paint, so of course it makes the most sense for Valve to skip talking about all the new frills and instead give us the cold hard facts about what has changed. What if a game has 2 very distinct audiences? A very large casual audience that will provide most of the game's initial sales, and a somewhat niche competitive audience that will provide a majority of the game's longtime player base. Well, lucky for us, we have a perfect example of how a company blended the 2 of these into a trailer. Nintendo's Everyone Is Here trailer for Smash Ultimate. This trailer begins with like a 3-minute cinematic slowly revealing that every character who had ever been in Smash will be returning to Ultimate. From that, they've already made the casual audience happy, but then they go on to talk about all of the new content planned for the game. They have a whole section in here talking about the in-depth mechanics of the game, revealing things like directional air dodging, the new parry system, damage balancing between singles and doubles, and and this got the competitive audience on board. And then they wrap it up with the thing that has been synonymous with Smash for the longest time, a character reveal. But not just any character reveal, the reveal of one of the most requested characters ever, and a character that people have said would be impossible to implement fairly, which shows their ambition with this game. All in all, this trailer, and I am using that definition lightly since this is like 25 minutes, but still it was the first look at the game other than a teaser from a few months prior, had something for everyone and was composed perfectly. You can't make a video on game trailers without mentioning Cyberpunk 2077. One of the greatest E3 showcases ever was Cyberpunk in 2019. They had fucking Keanu Reeves walk out on stage and deliver a very good performance to the crowd to get them hyped about the game. It really did feel like he was kind of just happy to be there, which is weird because he's a massive actor who has been in front of much larger and much less gamery audiences. Anyways, this trailer was cool as hell, and actually having a big-time actor come out and be passionate about the game went a long way. Cyberpunk in its time was the king of trailers, even from its initial reveal in 2013. It really seemed like every piece of media that was put out about this game was masterfully crafted to hype it up as one of the best video games ever, nigh pieces of media ever. And I think that in this way, the adept nature in which CD Projekt Red marketed this game kind of led to its downfall, because no matter what the final product was, there was no way that it would be able to live up to the hype. And when they delivered a very buggy, like 7.5 out of 10 game, everyone was disappointed, unsurprisingly. Now, I say that, and I thought that at the time too. I was sure that Cyberpunk was not going to live up to expectations. I believed it to be impossible for a game to be this hyped and end up succeeding. And I was definitely proven wrong. Elden Ring is another game that had incredible marketing from the jump and as such manufactured an enormous amount of hype surrounding it. I was certain at the time that this game was going to fail, not because I didn't trust the developers. Remember, everyone loved everything CD Projekt Red had released until Cyberpunk. I just thought that this was part of the cycle of gaming culture. A game can't succeed if people expect it to be a 10 out of 10 generational masterpiece. And then Elden Ring released and it was exactly that. This is not the norm, and I feel like this might make people buy into the endless cycle of hype even more than they already do, which is not good. One thing that making this video has made me realize is how dearly I miss E3. The Summer Game Fest just happened, and that's cool and all, but it pales in comparison to how cool it was to have a week of presentations slated entirely around new games releasing in the coming years. Now, everyone has their own things that happen at different times, and they're all perfectly fine, but the pre-recorded stuff like that doesn't really come close to live press conferences in front of huge crowds where everyone is trying their best to outshine everyone else. In fact, due to a lack of concentration of these events, I legitimately struggled to recall any game trailer from the past 3 or so years. I think that the game trailer is a bit of a dying art. Most people don't learn about games from watching these press conferences or shows anymore. They see the news about them on Twitter or hear about it on a podcast. I know it's a bit hypocritical for me to hate on influencer marketing because, well, wait, but still, it feels like the aura has been sapped from the game release cycle. Is that a bad thing though? When I think about it, most games that are loved these days come from studios that wouldn't even come close to having a spot on the E3 main stage. My favorite games that come out recently haven't come from the major studios, they've been very indie. Abiotic Factor, Lethal Company, hell, Baldur's Gate 3 and Helldivers 2 are both insanely ambitious, amazing titles that aren't made by a Sony or a Nintendo, but smaller, focused dev teams that actually give a shit about the product they release. As time goes on, video games and video game marketing will continue to change even more. And the way that we're looking right now, the future doesn't look so bad. We've had a number of great games release from small companies and be able to succeed massively because of the way that video game media works right now, and that's really cool. Because of the internet, we're entering an era of enormous decentralization in the media world. But what does that mean for us as individuals? Well, it just means that we as consumers get higher quality content at the cost of flashy things like gaming conventions and Keanu Reeves on stage. The job of marketing at the end of the day has always been to deceive the consumer. Think about several of these trailers that I've talked about. Subtick in CS2 was nowhere near what it promised. Directional air dodging in Smash Ultimate wasn't as cool as it looked, and of course, Fallout 76 and Cyberpunk were both buggy messes on release. And while, yeah, sometimes it's pretty fun to be deceived. Like, damn dude, look at how cool that explosion looks. The game must be good. This new decentralized gaming industry just means that we get deceived less and we get higher quality experiences to play. And in my book, that's a fair trade-off. Thank you.